and welcome to my first ever video. This was a blast to record and it was a really fun time. This is the first ever panel that I have hosted. This was at Anthrocon 2023. I had some special guests. Those are Taijey from Toon Studios and Aung. He is a industry animator who has worked for Warner Bros. For their Looney Tunes cartoons. It was really awesome working with both of them, and we did play a little game of popcorn so that we could all present a little part of this presentation. This was a crazy first panel to ever host, because when I tell you the room was full, I really do mean it. And well, I was expecting a bit of a gathering. I mean, it was Anthrocon after all, one of the biggest furry conventions in the US, but I was not expecting the entirety of the meeting room to be filled. Now, a little background on this. The parade happened right before, and I took my chances and did not pack the stuff that I needed in a backpack. So after the parade, I skedaddled, got on a bus, went to our hotel room, and packed all of our stuff, got back on a bus, and then got back to the panel, which meant that I was a few minutes late to my own panel. Oh my gosh. Oops. But thankfully, Ty and E were super awesome and were keeping the audience occupied and just were being super awesome co-hosts. And I really can't say thanks enough to those two. So thank you. I would love to do more Toon Furs panels and content at these conventions. That being said, let's get started on this panel.
Hello, welcome. First, we're going to tackle the introduction. So I'm Cat. I also go by Reggie or DeadPossumCo. I'm the host of this. I went to college for animation, and since then I've been working at a library as a youth librarian. But I love drawing toons, and I have a very toony fursuit over there, Mr. Reggie.
Hi, I'm Taijey of Toon Studios. I run my own little business where I run commissions doing cartoony illustrations and selling cartoony items such as stickers, keychains, and the like. My two Fursonas, Chloe, I don't know if you've met her. She's a very mischievous orange cat that likes to drop animals on people. And then our little baby boy, who is the cause of all of Chloe's joy and misery, Snooze.
I love those two. They're so cute.
Hello, my name is Ye. I'm actually working as an animator at Warner Bros. Studio, animating classes, and also I pursue like a giant ear move that dance around a lot. You might see me walking and dancing around in the hallway, slapping people with my ears. Like, if you send me a vicinity of me, I'll get grab you with it. So yeah.
All right, so before we start, there's going to be a lot of toon humor. That's just the name of the game. You obviously know what panel you walked into. It's toony. There's going to be toony stuff. The style guide, very brief clips of animation from different historical and vintage cartoons. I avoided the clips that were not as culturally acceptable nowadays.
Yeah.
They were wrong, as they say, they were wrong for their time, and they were wrong now.
And finally, the world of toons is much more expansive than what we're covering today. This is just about American animation studios. Ultimately, there's no perfect way to be a toony furry. Very, very quickly, a very abridged lesson on cartoons. The animation of the art of sequential moving drawings on film has been an art medium since the early 1900s, taking on many forms and subjects since the invention of the modern camera. Cartoon shorts were shown exclusively in Nickelodeons. The original theaters made for adult audiences. Eventually, as the world of films evolved, cartoons began to be made to appeal to children as well.
That's why like a studio named Nickelodeon based on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very quick shorts.
Based on that, it's a nickel studio because you have to pay a nickel to watch a movie.
Yes.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah. It only cost a nickel to stay at the theater the entire day. That would be awesome. And then very quickly, in the 1930s and 40s, the Hays Code censored cartoons and forced studios to follow a strict guideline on what could and could not be shown in a theater. It also impacted queer and minority appearances in film and would adapt to television as well, with live action stuff as well. And it will continue to impact film into the 1960s. The king of toons, Bugs Bunny, is infamous for breaking many of these strict rules, even dressing in drag.
He's a queen.
Yeah, what a queen!
Yeah,
Scandalous.
here's the game. When I recently animated a promo for Book Math using Dash Money, and me and my animation director, we were like, we're gonna make Bugs Bunny as queenie as possible.
It was awesome, I'm not gonna lie.
Staying true to the classics.
Break a lot of rules, go for it. Even with these heavy censorships, animation studios found ways to make their cartoon shorts funny, appealing to kids and adults, even if it meant bending or outright breaking these rules. So why should we toonify our fursuits?
Because tunes are great.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's like a better form of expression almost.
Might be boring. Hit someone with a hammer.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That too.
Why be bound by the rules of reality? You can be bound by the rules of cartoonify.
You guys are awesome.
Exaggeration. Yes.
Yes, and more yes.
Yes.
That's my turn.
So yeah, just exactly everything that you guys just
I
said
can
is.
know someone raising their hand up.
Ooh, yes.
Yes.
I was also going to bring up the tune stuff allows for easier squash and stretch as well.
Yes.
That is so much fun. It's also a great way to heal your inner child by, just having an excuse to draw your characters in a way that's silly and fun and in a way to, like, an excuse to dive headfirst into the world of cartoons and animation. Definitely watch some cartoons, get inspired. A lot of modern cartoons are getting back to the style of the old vintage ones. Like Cuphead, I love Cuphead. It's so good.
And Bendy.
Yeah, a lot of things are getting inspired by the 1930 right now. Even the new Netflix show, Cat Bedell. There are so many more coming out. Even Pokemon has a black and white style of cartoon about strategy. If you ever want to check out the Pokemon black and white cartoon, there it is.
Toons is what it's called.
Yeah, Pokemon.
Of course, Looney Tunes continues to come back with vengeance every single generation. We're going to focus on the three main Toony Furs styles, and you might definitely recognize all three. This style is inspired by these cartoons from the 1920s and 30s when they were really starting to explore and really know how to animate and make these shorts on a very low budget and very, very quickly and really push them out into theaters.
You'll notice that the limbs in Riverco's cartoons are noodly,
Yes.
very noodly, for
Like-
not only ease of animation.
And due to the limitations of the technology during this time, cartoons were solely black and white. Most depictions have those pie-cut eyes like Reggie and gloves to differentiate the backgrounds from their hands. It also helped with silhouettes. Obviously Disney the Mouse, iconic. Out of the Inkwell cartoons by Fleischer Studios, and then the very, very early Looney Tunes cartoons.
And Felix.
Yes, Felix the Cat. Fandom, this style really just broke out as being super popular after Cuphead and Bendy and the Ink Machine. There are some fursuits out there that are iconic. Artists also love the style because it is so simplistic and you can really draw any species in it.
So with our Looney Tunes and Roger Rabbit styles, these furs are inspired by cartoons from the 1940s, specifically styled after the classic Looney Tunes shorts, Roger Rabbit. If you don't know who that is, I have to teach you sometime.
Yeah.
And of course the Acme. Who doesn't know Acme?
Acme was the only company that supply animation supplies to the animation studio. And Warner Brothers used the company name as a gag. So when we animate on paper, they have Acme paper, which means the animation paper with 3 holes, and the Acme hole puncher that punches those holes.
I also know that Wile E. Coyote uses a lot of Acme products.
Yes,
We're getting
yes,
there.
it is on that.
We're getting there.
Every company is like the nemesis of Wile E. Coyote, actually.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, I just wanted to add, apparently, part of that Acme stuff gag is that not only do they make the animation supplies, but they just make a huge variety of stuff
Yeah.
for animation, and
Yeah.
so it's just a huge variety of stuff. It's okay, yeah, they'll make dynamite, they'll make plungers, they'll make,
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
Everything that you will ever need to catch a roadrunner.
Of course, Acme Code, slapstick gags, hilarious and improbable situations, expressions beyond all reach. Of course, Looney Tunes, Roger Rabbit, and Animaniacs were some of the key members of this era. In the fandom, we have very many toon artists.
So many.
I'll start off with one that I hope everyone knows, Dingo Roo. And of course, we have the lovely Ken Draws art that does a fantastic toony style, and you can commission them. They're really nice. Orlando Fox,
Yeah.
a more subdued but still very true to the style artist. And then I don't know if anyone has heard of the fursuit or Cosperry or Cosmo Perry.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, Cosperry is very good in drawing like a feature dumb blue film style cartoon. If you ever want to check out their style.
And they also make really, really expressive and toony fursuits. Fantastic.
I think they were one of themselves. Like they have like so they make like like a furry version of the Marty McFly from Back to the Future.
Columbo.
Bark to the Future. There we go.
Yeah, Bark
to the Future.
Love it.
So in the fandom, actually a lot of your classic fandom originated from this style or this idea of tuning. From, for example, the fursuit mailing list from 1998, Sable and Foxworks. Many of the fursuits that you see, many of the standard toony fursuits you see nowadays.
He was like one of the earlier Disney animators that he was one of the most difficult person to work with. But here again, he was very skilled. I'll give him that. He's still very skilled. I still respect his work, and he makes his film is always a hit or miss for me. But his style is still very, very influential for a lot of artists. We have like stuff like American Tail.
Yeah.
Like that's one of my favorites. And we all cry at Regular Before Time. And and one of my personal all-time favorite movies, Secret of the Nymph.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite. Other than that, I'm like, like you have like some other random shit.
All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah.
Also included in this is the Bronze Age Disney films, so Robin Hood,
Yeah.
101 Dalmatians, The Jungle Books, Aristocats.
Sword and Stone.
It's a very sketchy style. And the only reason why that we have Roger Rabbit is because of Don Bluth's success against Disney.
You can probably tell there are a lot of like people who make like very inspired, geek era inspired fursuits, like like you can see Charlie Butter everywhere, and a lot of fursuit style actually inspired from this era, the '90s auto fursuit.
Okay, one important thing with any style of toony furry artwork is just push the exaggeration all the way. Push it until it is pushed all the way. Stretch it out
Beyond the limits.
beyond the limits until it might break, and then push it a little bit more.
Don't make it sad, make it depressed.
I love that. That's awesome. I've seen a lot of fursuit makers just completely go wild with the expression and pushing the exaggerated features in their fursuits. So big shout out to my fursuit maker, Hyperactive Hyena, for making Ruckus, who inspired me to commission them to make Reggie. They're in the crowd.
Please, let's give them a hand, please.
Barry is also a huge contender of this guy. The kings of toony exaggeration is Tom and Jerry. So if you need reference on how to completely exaggerate your characters, watch the old Tom and Jerry cartoons, the newer ones, all of them. Guys, that's all that cartooning is about. Toony fursuit makers. More for Less is the most popular and famous one. You've definitely seen them around, like
Look,
Furrow and
Chloe is not here.
Chloe.
Chloe is not here.
Yes, you can change their eyebrows. They're very, very expressive. They can also move their mouths, which is absolutely insane. I love that. It just allows for more expressions, and a more expressive experience with your fursuit.
Sino Bear Fursuits, please check it out.
They make super smooth fursuits where you're like, I almost had to do a double take the first time I looked at their suits because I was like, that is not fur. It just looks so smooth, and it's amazing. Next we have Cavity Sam, but they make really, really super expressive toony fursuit head bases, and they rarely take commissions for their toony fursuits, but they are amazing. They did Pinky Toons. If you follow her on Twitter,
I've seen it like this giant.
yes, it is huge. And like the eyelids are like able to be moved. The teeth are like this big. Their stuff is just very exaggerated.
Very unique
and
too.
huge. And very, like, you can tell that it's their style. Yeah. Cartoon Graveyard is one of the newer ones, whose style leans more towards Looney Tunes with a very rough around the edge style. A lot more of like that grittiness, very airbrushed and very textured fursuits. It's very
Bloodshot
interesting.
eyes.
Yes, bloodshot eyes is
Yeah,
huge.
it's very cartoony, but it's also very comedy. You know, like
Yes.
you will see these art style in a comic.
Yes, it reminds me of Fritz the Cat.
There we go.
There we go. It's that style,
Yep.
but in a fursuit. It's really cool. Next we have writing your fursonas. So if you're interested in writing, here we go. First of all, protagonist versus antagonist. Do you want your character to be a hero or a villain? Somewhere in between?
Anti-hero, problem,
A problem?
just your regular good citizen just helping out where they can.
And this applies to every story, by the way. It's not
Yes.
cartoons.
Not just cartoons. This applies to every single
Like,
story.
every story, even live action, is based on these types.
Yeah. So once you decide if you want them to be an antagonist or a protagonist, kind of decide what archetype they fall under. So it's kind of like an umbrella, where you have those two and then the archetypes. So Looney Tunes fall under these traditional storytelling character archetypes. We have the everyman, the creator, the explorer, the hero, the child, the jester, the lover, the mentor, the outlaw, and the ruler.
So your everyman is just that relatable character that is recognized in their daily life. Their conflicts are based on like reality, like they forgot milk, they forgot to go pick up milk.
Yes. And then because they're tunes, one simple problem becomes one huge
Mess.
mess. We have a creator. So this is a visionary who creates during the narrative, whether literal or metaphorical. But usually the creation does go rogue. So if you know Looney Tunes, this would be the scientist or gossamer, big red guy.
The hero type, which is like the main character, the main protagonist that you want to root for, like Miss Reggie. And Bottle is another good hero type. He really make relatable by showing how miserable his life is, and then you just want to root for them. So that's how both hero type characters are.
Then we have the explorer, which is a character that is naturally driven to fight the status quo and explore the unknown, but always returns home with a learned lesson or new perspective on life.
About toony aspect, and this idea was, as you said, if you are a bad guy or a good guy, and it's the same character, but when you see out of the character and you turn Wall Street around, it's the same character but another one, And I was wondering if it's really possible to I'm my character, and then if I'm pissed, I just sit out and become another one. Is there something
The
like,
mask.
do you think it's possible to do something like this, or like as a cartoon when you have some aspect when you zip out there is another fursuit inside of the fursuit?
Yeah.
A fursuit inside of another fursuit. I love that. That is
That's
awesome.
throwback. Go ahead.
There was a gag in the Looney Tunes that did that, where like the wizard become a horse and it was another horse inside. But yeah, there are guest found stuff like there are split personality character like the Mask too. If you know the Mask, he's like a cartoon god.
I remember a specific clip in Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries where Hector, Sylvester, and Tweety all zip out of their fur and are wearing tuxedos underneath.
Those gags are always fun.
And I mean, you could absolutely have a character who is both a protagonist and an antagonist. Maybe by changing their costuming or, again, like zipping out of it. That trope has been around for a long time, but you can definitely put your own spin on it, and I would love to see what they come up with. That'd be so cool. Yes.
Break the boundaries.
Well, I mean, this might not be a big example, but there was like a Max Fleischer cartoon called Christmas Comes Up Once a Year, and it features Penny's grandfather, Grampy. But he's like this inventor, and so he's like visiting this orphanage, and he's like, these kids are in trouble. He's like, I gotta cheer them up by selling all these toys. But he has this cat with a light bulb on it that he sticks on his head, and you got it, yeah, that's the one. And so it's kind of like something he just goes ape. He starts just building all kinds of shit. It's just like his personality just switches to like something else entirely. That kind of reminds me of that.
You want a modern-ish example, Ren and Stimpy, the Happy Joy.
Oh God.
So, Child is a morally pure character whose only intentions are innocent. They are forced to face harsh reality, yet still remain innocent at heart. So, if you're a Don Bluth fan, this would be Rightful from American Tail or Littlefoot from Land Before Time.
The Jester, I believe a lot of us are familiar with that. So the Jester is that trickster character that causes mayhem or exists just to provide comic relief, breaking the fourth wall. Their job is to make them laugh. Simple as that. So you got Roger Rabbit, Goofy, my personal example, Clyde. So she just exists to be a problem.
My favorite one is Daffy Duck.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Bugs Bunny.
The lover is that romantic lead guided by the heart, usually very dim-witted. Love for blank is all that really matters for them, so Pepe Le Pew.
He wants the lady.
He really wants the lady.
He just wants to love somebody, but he's got to learn consent.
Next is the mentor. This is a wise figure with a ton of knowledge or powers that usually helps another character. Might have alternative motives. Might be a little mischievous.
Makes you wonder if you can really trust them or not.
Like Merlin from Salt and Yourself, the mentor character. Like they always want that character that break the rule, but like you want to root for them, and that's just outlaw. They don't stand by society rule. And one of the modern example is Nick Wilde.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Robin Hood. Then another one, and like. There's plenty of them. Like a lot of anti-heroes are like very outlaw-ish.
Yeah, they break the rules, man. I mean, who wouldn't like that?
And now we have the ruler, the character with legal, royal, or emotional power over others. And then this power just consumes them to where they want to control everything, every thought, main motivation, and what they want to achieve. They'll stop at nothing to do so. So you have a perfect example of that. Aha, Prince John. And of course, car phrase from All Dogs Go to Heaven.
You could also say Brain from Pinky and the Brain. Totally world domination. You picked an archetype. Awesome. Pick some toon powers. I advise you pick 3 to 4 powers because you just don't want your persona or character to be too overpowered. But
don't become the Acme of Fursonas.
Yes.
No, man. Again, you know all the toon power already. Like the easiest one, there's no physics.
Yeah, there's no physics. There's toon physics, which means that there is none.
If you ever watch Tiny Toon, they will explain how to get the toon laws.
Stretchy rubber limbs, super strength, teleportation, instant healing, so they might get hurt in one scene and then the next they're totally fine. Bottomless stomach, Reggie has a bottomless stomach, so you can feed him and feed him and feed him, and
He will never get full.
he'll never get full, never get fat. Shape-shifting, heat vision, that pocket dimension.
Also called hammer space.
Yes. Wall interaction, deflation, inflation, fat expansion, pencil warping, super speed, limb regeneration, hyper bouncing like Tigger, disguise mastery, which was like that zipping thing that we were just talking about, super growth and shrink, the shrink rays.
The time manipulation. Like for example, speeding bullet, put your hand out, you stop it.
Yeah. Instant weapon mastery. So they can just pick up a hammer and
Violence.
yes, lots of violence. Students have these traits in common. They do not follow laws of real life physics. They do not age. They do not have lasting effects of injury, and most importantly, they must return to that status quo.
So basically, they learned that lesson at the end of the episode. Episode 4, what?
Same thing happens again.
Same
Same
thing
thing
over and over
happens.
again.
Over and over and over.
The lesson does not stick.
Toons cannot get permanently hurt. Their only fatal weakness is the dip.
Why? Reggie.
Why?
This is important.
This is very important.
part of history.
Yes. Put the stars on this note everywhere. The dip is made of turpentine, acetone, and benzene, a solution that makes up a paint thinner used to remove ink from animation cells.
We do card you if you're carrying those around, by the way.
Usually they have one main flaw. The one main flaw is usually an ego-driven personality trait that causes the character to fail whatever they were attempting to achieve. Arrogance and overconfidence are the more common flaws to be found in cartoons. Daffy's main flaw, out of many, is that he's way too arrogant to catch Bug when he's trying to trick him.
Alright, well, those aren't flaws.
No, he's perfectly flawed.
Yes.
They're not flaws, they're just quirks.
Speaking of arrogant, I'll add some rule. Like if you know Wile E. Coyote, there's a rule of champion. Wile E. Coyote cannot be hurt by a rope runner. He has to be hurt himself.
Yeah.
That's always a rule in making a Wile E. Coyote. It always comes trapped in that hurt himself.
Remember to accessorize. So let's check out that AcmeCo catalog. Products include anvils, stick dynamite, brackets, portable hose, hang gliders, parachutes, whoopee cushions, oversized hammers, disappearing ink, earthquake pills, voice changer, enlarging gun, shrinkway, Insta Road, super sticky super glue, giant rubber band, giant flypaper, clone ray, bottomless carpet bag, and much more. About something a little bit less destructive, because those Acme things, they can't be trusted. So here's some other props. These can be pulled from that pocket dimension. The most common ones, or the ones that are most recognizable, are carrots, like Bugs Bunny, he's always gnawing on it. Anvils, ray guns, bombs, hot dogs / hamburgers, magnifying glass signs, like Wile E. Coyote, he only communicates through signs and screams. Rubber chickens, giant pencils, the options are truly limitless. Don't forget to come up with a catchphrase. Every cartoon has one. So Disney, it's, oh boy, and gosh, hot dog.
Yeah. What's up, Dot? You're despicable.
And then Don Bluth doesn't really have catchphrases because they're just movies, but never say never.
That's a song.
Never say never. And then Land Before Time. Thank you. Yep. Let's talk settings. So where do you want your fursona to live? Is it a location that's based more on reality, or a place where anything can be set during a certain time period, or timeless? So everybody, hopefully, in here is familiar with Toontown?
Yes.
Everything is a toon in Toontown. Everything is sentient, anything can react to you, anything can move.
You say good morning to your mailbox and you say good morning back.
It is a little creepy. I don't know if I would want to get undressed in my own bedroom. It was really common in the Rubber Hose cartoons. The next one is like the big towns. So Flesher Studios was really boop shorts. Popeye was really big with those big cities, skyscrapers. And that made them really stand out from Disney and Warner Brothers, whose shorts were more like in the country. So specifically in the Midwest. Middle of nowhere, USA.
Nothing but deserts for miles and miles.
Yes. So like the Wile E. cartoons, westerns, stuff like that. The Cowardly Dog is in the middle of nowhere. Literally, it's called that. Nothing for miles or miles. Storybook Land. So this is a place that's filled with medieval castles, dragons, knights, and magical spells, often based on a work of pre-existing fiction, but you gotta make sure that it's in the public domain.
Fantasy.
Yes, Disney's Robin Hood. So let's look at some examples of these different archetypes and characters. Example 1, I classified Mickey Mouse as a hero archetype, but it could be argued that he could be a different one.
An everyman.
An everyman, definitely. He's the character that we want to root for, who isn't afraid to ask friends for help and is lawful good. His toon powers are rubber limbs, pocket dimension, and disguise mastery, different costumes for different roles. Because he's been around for over 90 years, oh my gosh, his design has also changed, but his personality and age has remained the same.
Y'all know Bugs Bunny. You got Rightfully Rabbit. He will trick you, and sometimes he the one who is antagonizing other people. But we all love him because of how rightfully he is, and that's what you call a jester, a trickster.
Trickster gods.
Yes.
The queen.
Or that, yeah.
His toon powers are that pocket or hammer space dimension, fourth ball interaction, disguise mastery, queen. And he also doesn't have a definite age in the original shorts. A lot of these cartoons don't have ages. He's constantly challenging somebody in these shorts, and no matter who tests him, no matter who challenges Bugs, he's always able to help with them.
And then, of course, Charlie B. Barkin from All Dogs Go to Heaven is the outlaw archetype, party animal. He has his casino, and of course, after Carface takes over, he tries to seek revenge to either take the other casino down or to build his own. And he's very money motivated. And of course, he doesn't have any defined toon powers. Like, again, his story in the original, in the All Dogs Go to Heaven, was based in reality.
Yeah.
So, of course, breaking out of jail or the pound and whatnot. So most of Blue's studio characters are, like, their paws also double as hands.
That also happening a lot in like a lot of Disney classic movies like The Aristocrat.
Yeah.
Blues films, they're very based in reality for the most part. There's still some fantasy aspects.
The Secret of NIMH.
The Secret of NIMH, obviously, there's some magic there, but they're not going to have like rubbery limbs or pocket dimensions or
More wacky style
stuff. And then finally, I get to talk about my Reggie. Reggie, my Fursona, is a child archetype. He's always happy-go-lucky. He loves hanging out with friends and geeking out about animation and video games. His toon powers are stretchy limbs, so his tongue and his tail. He has glow-in-the-dark green skin and a bottomless stomach. He's also stuck at 21 years old. And his catchphrase is squeak.
And I guess if I can throw Chloe in, she is definitely the jester or trickster type. She is very overconfident and self-absorbed. She thinks she's the queen of her little town home. aside from Snooze, she loves the boy. She's basically a brat to everyone else except for Snooze, because she expects everyone else to wait hand and foot on her. However, again, that overconfidence and arrogance flaw. Her abilities definitely hammer space, fourth wall breaks, and the regeneration.
All right. Any questions on this?
Would you say the Tex Avery fits into the vintage style or a different sort of style?
Part of me is leaning towards like that Looney Tunes era.
Test, if you want very quick exaggeration, go Tex Avery.
I also have some bibliographies, some different books you guys might be interested in reading. You don't have to read them. And there is a book about Tex Avery in there. So if you're interested, go for it. There's also one about Felix and Looney Tunes and the making of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is really cool.
To add on to the books, I forgot the author, but there is a sort of biography of the Looney Tunes called Malice, Animals, and Dynamite.
Yes.
It is a very good read, as long as it's a very good read.
Anything else?
If you are interested in the animation history itself, like find any book by Gary Beck. Because Gary Beck is an animation historian and he has the most accurate information. I'll tell you that right now. It's by Gary Beck.
Before we end off this panel, I actually want to see if somebody learned something.
Ooh.
In order to get this here mallet. Because this is based on a pet peeve of mine. A lot of people have called a certain style the Cuphead style and not its proper name. What is its proper name?
Rubber hose.
Thank you! I'm sorry, that is a pet peeve of mine. Cuphead did not come first. Rubber hose came first.
All right, and that was the end of the panel. A huge thank you again to Taijey and Yi for being a part of this panel. I was also approached by a couple of my followers on Instagram, and we took these lovely photos after the panel. So huge shout out to Toonify and Median. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you again for showing up. And thanks for the audience for being there. Thank you guys for watching this video. All the links to the panelists' social medias are going to be in the description of this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay toony out there. Squeak!